this man, this being that God created, 1 Thessalonians 5:23 tells us that being is made up spirit, soul, and body. That's the only being that God created that has these three components. When God created the spirit, he gave them a spirit and a soul. So they are able to know, to be angry, to be sad, but they cannot operate on the earth physically. They cannot be seen physically. They have no physical tangibility. When God created animals, he gave them body and soul, but no spirit. So they could not aspire to righteousness. When God created man, he gave him body, spirit, and soul. The body is the physical part of man that is neutral to both the soul and the spirit. Now, what is the spirit? You have organs. You have the organ for smelling, which is the nose, isn't it? You have the organ for seeing, which is the eyes. You have the organ for taste, which is the tongue, right? The organ for righteousness. There was an organ, there was a part of man that was meant to live the righteousness of God. That is the spirit. So the spirit was the component of man by which man could live out the righteousness of God. Romans 7:22. It is by the spirit that man was able to perceive the will of God, to perceive the holiness of God, and to replicate it. But then the soul is the part of man that caters to the pleasure of man. These are the immaterial components from God that when God breathed into man, they came into his being. And so when that happened, God created them in Genesis 1:26, but it was when he breathed into man that man became a soul that is alive. So man became a soul. Genesis 2:7. So God breathed into him and he became a living soul. A soul that has life. Now, the soul that has life is a soul that is blended with the spirit. The spirit there is the life, and the spirit comes from God. Ecclesiastes 12:7. So the spirit component of man comes directly, it's a direct download from God. The part of man that is God. John chapter 1:9, I think this is the light that lighted every man that cometh into the world. So there is a part of God that is inside the man. It's called the spirit, the human spirit.